It very well may be the beefiest topic in the history of Warhammer 40k. I wouldn't be surprised. It's definitely up there. We are going to talk about female Custodes. I know. Get the popcorn ready. Sweet or salty. Probably salted popcorn, right? But this is something that I've had a lot of people say they want me to talk about it in this stream and also in personal messages and Discord and all this kind of stuff, right? Now, I'll say a couple of qualifying things. Firstly, this has been out a few days, and so I know I'm a little bit late to it. But in my defense, when the new Custodes were revealed, I was slightly busy trying to defend Kursk from a German armored spearhead. I was playing a massive game of bolt action. I was on the Soviet team. I was part of the Central Front, and I had 3 Tiger tanks, 2 Panzer IVs, and an elephant bearing down on me. And I was having to try and hold them off with a couple of Ziz guns, a couple of KVs, and a prayer. So, so I'm a little late to it, but I was having a lot of fun. I was probably having a lot more fun than everybody who actually was in the reveal stream. And it's funny because I was like, oh, I'm really sad I'm going to miss the reveals. And then I sort of checked in afterwards. I was like, whoa. Dodged an artillery shell on that one. Baby. So there was that. Now, the other thing I will say is, despite the fact that it's been a few days, I've seen some takes on this from both sides. I've seen the takes of the people who are fairly pro or fairly pro female Custodes, and I've seen some of the takes that are pretty anti female Custodes. And I would like to say that I have taken the time. We're getting into the beef now, right? This is not, we're sort of going from, sort of setting up to into the beef, right? And I've taken the time to understand both sides of the argument. Because I don't, if I'm going to be honest, I don't really have it feels like I don't really have, is it like, what's the expression? A dog in the race, as it were, horse in the race? I'm not sure what the expression is, but it's difficult because I don't play Custodes. And I've never really liked the faction. Okay, if I'm going to be totally honest, let's cards on the table. Female or male, I've never really liked Custodes. A dog in the fight, thank you. And the reason why I've never really liked them is because they are these perfect beings, and they are the pinnacle of human soldiery and technology and all this kind of stuff. And to me, I don't like Custodes for the same reason that I don't really care about Superman. Somewhat, and I'm sure there's a lot more nuance to their lore. I'm sure there is. But speaking in vast generalizations, perfect warriors who can never do anything wrong and blah, 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 with very few flaws, blah, 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 doesn't really appeal to me. There is a reason why I collect the Imperial Guard, and there's a reason why, I collect the Empire and in Old World and stuff like that. It's because, I like collecting the flawed humans who aren't perfect, and it's despite their imperfections, but they still pick up a weapon and hold the line, kind of thing. That's why I play those factions. So I've never really liked Custodes generally, but I've always respected people who have liked them, because at the end of the day, there's loads of people that don't like Guard, who do like Custodes and so on. So your faction is your faction. You pick it for your reason. whatever reasons it may be, whether you're a meta chaser, a lore guy, or a hobbyist, or a casual player, or narrative player, you pick it, right? So, but I thought it's important to say I've never really liked them. So one of the reasons I've never liked them is obviously there's the lore side of things. But the other reason I've never really liked them is from a gameplay point of view. Now, I've never made any real bones about this, but I wouldn't say always, in recent times, I have always been a competitive player first. For my sins, I have enjoyed competitive play immensely over the years. And one of the reasons why one of the gameplay reasons why I've struggled with Custodes is they've always just felt like a stat check. It's just been how many invulnerable saves. So, some editions, there were 3+ invulnerable saves. Some editions, there were 4+ invulnerable saves. But it's just how many invulnerable saves can you make someone roll? And every single edition that Custodes have been out as a standalone army, the pattern has repeated. I played these games before! Custodes always end up becoming this sort of strange, like, pseudo horde army, which sounds crazy, right? But they always become a stat check army. And I think it happened in 8th and 9th, and it certainly happened in 10th now. The Custodes are now running 30 Custodian Guard, right? So it just becomes this stat check. And so I found them unbelievably grindy and frustrating to play against. So not only am I not a fan of, not only do I struggle to relate to the faction, but I also have not really enjoyed my time playing against them. And finally, if I can be, and this might rub some people up the wrong way, and I do apologize, but I decided when I was coming into that I wasn't going to sit on the fence, and I was going to come out here, warts and all, right? Finally, I don't really like the gold color scheme. I have seen Custodes when they've been painted in like silver or white, and I've always thought they've looked a lot better. But the color scheme doesn't really appeal to me either. So that's a very small one, and I do apologize if you've painted your Custodes gold and they look lovely. Great, but personal preference. I'm sure some people hate I've had loads of people hate my green color scheme by Mordians, right? So yeah, all of this is to say that my traditional stance, and to a certain extent I still hold this stance, but it's evolved. But my traditional stance on female Custodes has always been to quote the film Step Brothers. I'm not making myself clear. I don't give a fuck. And that was always, and to a certain extent, that is still my stance. I've always been taught you shouldn't really put your nose where it doesn't belong. It's not my business kind of thing. And I know some people won't really like that, but there is an element. Like I said, that's still really my stance. However, it has evolved slightly. So for me, it was over 2025, I got very salty. That was very obvious. You've seen all the videos about it, right? But over time, the salt, crystallized, and I started to really understand what was sort of bothering me a little bit about 40k. And it wasn't really about 40. It was partially about 40k, and it was partially about Games Workshop as a whole. But one of the, and I think female Custodes for me they are a symptom of a wider issue that I've kind of had with Games Workshop for a while now, which is that I really fucking struggle to deal with Games Workshop these days. Like, it's difficult. You always have to have that perspective that, it is toy soldiers in a game at the end of the day. But I don't really like that because, well, if you start having that approach, you stop caring. And then if you stop caring, then why the fuck are we even here kind of thing? And I don't like that. I quite like to care, right? It's like one of the reasons why I've got so excited about other games outside of 40k, like Old World to use an example, but also outside of GW, like I'd say bot action and especially Conflict 47. It's no exaggeration that I've been definitely hyping up Conflict a lot, right? It's because it's been fun to care about these universes again. But one of the problems, so I don't like it when it's like I don't care. I think I don't like that, because the truth is I do care. I do care about female Custodes. Because for me, it's just another example of Games Workshop changing as a company. And I think the reality that I had to face up to this Christmas was basically that Games Workshop is no longer, in almost any capacity, is no longer the same company that I grew up with. I always joke, have I changed or has Games Workshop changed? Well, I've liked the same sandwich since I was about 5 years old. Whenever I get to, go out for breakfast with Mrs. Mordian, I will get an English breakfast. She will try new things every single time. I will get an English breakfast. I never mind trying new things, but I also have my things that I always go to. If I go, if I want to get like, if I want to, I always joke, if I go to Subway, I've always ordered the same thing from Subway. What bloody sandwich? Okay, so my favorite sandwich is just, it's just a roast turkey sandwich with salted butter. Not too much butter, but like just nice bread with a medium layer of butter with a bit of fresh roast turkey on there. And that is just, it's very basic, but that is just perfect to me. That is, and it does, if I want to make myself a quick lunch, that's what I would make. Okay. I'm talking the same sandwich that I've made myself, right? Cheese and pickle. Cheese and pickle's very good. Mrs. Mordian loves cheese and pickle, so you'd get on with her, Scroobius. But getting back to the thing, I haven't changed. I like the Imperial Guard. I love the Imperial Guard. And, if you saw how salty I was towards the end of last year, and then Grizzled Company came out, right? And it was really nice because it felt like Grizzled Company, it kind of fixed the vibe check that Guard really, really needed. Because, the Guard Codex wasn't inherently bad. In fact, when I first read it, I thought they've done very well with this. But as time went on, I found that it wasn't passing the vibe check. So, thing is, I haven't really changed. But I think it's time to just to openly, I think it's time to stop coping. I think it's time to square up and face the truth. For me to do it, and frankly, for everyone to do it, whether you're a new player or you're an old player. I think everyone has to square up and just accept the fact that Games Workshop is no longer the same company. The people that work there are not the same. None of them are. Probably several times over. Big companies have big employee churn. I think who was it that left this week? It was one of the artists. I can't remember. It wasn't Gav Thorpe. He's left ages ago. But someone on chat will know. But one of the last Jez, that was it. Jez Goodwin, the last of the OG Warhammer team left. Yeah. And so I think, Games Workshop it's like the ship of Theseus. If you change every single part of a company, is it still the same company? It's or in the UK they have we say it's the triggers broom question. If you've got a broom and you replace the handle, the handle breaks, so you replace that, and then the broom head breaks and you replace that, is it the same broom? Right? So I think that the reality is that, you know, it's not the same company. And it's a new set of people who are there. And those new people are going to have different visions, different preferences, different things, however you want to categorize it. They're going to be different people. And so what they're interested in making is going to be different. And the things that they like are going to be different. And so De Krampus has summed it up perfectly here. GW isn't playing Guard. They're playing Ashe Militarum. It's that simple. They're not playing Space Marines. They're playing Adeptus Astartes. They're not playing Chaos Space Marines anymore. They're playing Heretic Astartes. It's that simple. It's just not the same. And so all of this is to say, you know, that female Custodes are just a symptom or a product. Symptom does sound negative. I know some people will say, Mordian, it should be said negatively. Fuck female Custodes. No. You don't fuck them. They fuck you. But at the end of the day, like, female Custodes are a product of this new company. And so games that they are a product of the company that is of the new company. That's what it is. They are a new company. And the thing is, everyone keeps thinking that Games Workshop is the same as they always have been. Or maybe not thinking, but keep hoping they're the same as they always have been. But it's not. Let me ask you this. If a new game popped up by a new company that was identical to 40k, let's assume GW doesn't sue them into the ground, was identical to 40k, and they released a female Custodes army, you probably wouldn't buy it. Because you'd be like, no. You'd be like, no. That's bad. But, well, if you didn't like them, I would say. Right? Well, that's basically what's happened. It's not a perfect example, because I know some people might say, oh, well, if it's a different game, the lore would be different. Assume everything is the same. You wouldn't buy it. If you don't like female Custodes, you wouldn't buy it. That wouldn't make you buy the game, would it? So that's basically what's happened is there's this company that is wearing the skin of Games Workshop, but, you know, has the Games Workshop. They don't even have the same, guys, they don't even have the same logo. The only thing which is the same is the name. And even then, you know, the name isn't, you know, even then, it's like the name is barely the same, right? All the names of the factions have changed. All the names of the heroes have changed. All the names of the characters have changed. All the names of the weapons have changed. All the names of the armor have changed. Everything has changed. It's not the same company anymore. Anyway, so that's the first. So that, I would say, when people say, why have Games Workshop done it? That is why they've done it. Okay. Now, so far I've been very fence sitting, and I've gone down the I've not really given my opinion on female Custodes. I've just sort of said, you know, why has this happened? But I haven't really said, do I like female Custodes or do I dislike them? The truth is, I'm not a fan of female Custodes. And the main reason why, there's two main reasons why I don't like them. All right. Firstly, I think the way they were introduced is very poor. I don't have any issue with female models in a war game. I don't. To quote the great Colonel Jack O'Neill, you've got it all wrong. I don't hate women. I love women. I just got a little problem with scientists. I don't fucking hate women. No. You know? It's not the female custodian. It's not female models which are the problem. It's not the desecration of the law. I'm not a big law guy. Frankly, it's the low effort. It's the low effort. I've said it. Loads of people have said it. So many people have said it. But they could have so easily made female custodies a totally and utterly legit thing. And it could have been a retcon, but a respectful retcon. Like, I've said it before, but basically, long story. I don't want to get into, I've said it loads of times. But basically, if they had said, they've been sending the Custodes, they've been sending them out, they've been fighting all over the galaxy, the 10,000 have gone forth, but at the end of the day, one Custodes can be overwhelmed, even if it takes an entire army. The enemies of mankind will happily throw away an entire army of lesser warriors if it means the death of a single Custodes. And so, one by one, they've been going out and they've been falling. And so, but Custodes are one of the most difficult things for the Imperium to make. It's barely understood technology, as with so many things in the Imperium. So it takes a very, 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 very long time. And so basically, desperate times call for desperate measures, and you have the head of the Custodes, I think it's Valorous or something like that, who basically says, okay, we need to find more DNA. Because basically they melt you down and then remake you, is how I understand it. And someone says, well, he says, can we use women? Can we take the sons of noble families, but has anyone actually tried it with women? And, lots of people call him like a heretic. And he says, if I have to pay this price and be called a heretic, then so be it. But I am the word of the emperor or whatever, and I fucking say go and try it. And they go and try it, and even though loads and loads of unfortunate noble daughters are killed in the process, they find they can make them, because at the end of the day, by the time you've finished doing it, it doesn't matter what the original DNA was. It just, whether it's male or female, it just had to be of a certain purity and all that kind of stuff. And there can be a whole thing about how, by doing this, the Imperium knows that they are going to burn through the replacement rate of Custodes. And that basically, they're going to pay this price now, but in 100, 200, 200 years' time, we don't know, but it's not thousands of years. It's, by Imperial standards, it's pretty short. It's hundreds of years. They could burn through all of the replacements. And basically, they're going to pay the price. They're going to pay the price tomorrow for what they need to do today, kind of thing. So that's grimdark. And that's grimdark. And I think if they'd done that, they made a whole, really, they got Dan Abnett on it. They got the best Black Library writers they could. They gave him a big fucking paycheck and a lot of coffee, and they were like, bang it out. And they did a whole thing about it, and they put the effort in. Nobody minds retcons. Everyone fucking hates lazy retcons. Okay, not nobody. Few people mind retcons if they're done properly, because it's not even really a retcon at that point. It's just an evolution of the lore, and you grimdark it up, and you use the appropriate pseudoscience to explain it, and it's all good. But they didn't do that. They just went, there's always been female Custodes. Go fuck yourself. Right? And it's like, so that's the first thing. The second thing, and this is the second thing I'm going to say, and this is probably It's a little spicy. It might, maybe it's spicy, maybe it's not. I don't know. But the real thing is, I find the entire conversation entirely unnecessary, pointless, and tiresome. And this might upset people on both sides. Okay? But hear me out. I just don't think the conversation is necessary. Okay? I think all... I don't know... I don't believe that there was this huge demand, this huge outcry for female Custodes. Maybe there was. Maybe there wasn't. But in 2 decades, well, we can't even say 2 decades, but in the last decade that I've been playing it since I was basically an adult. I've been playing 40k since I was 5, but I can't really count those conversations, can I? Because I didn't know what the hell was going on. So let's say the last decade. In the last 10 years, I don't know anyone that was in the 10 years before it was announced, I don't know anyone that was really like clamoring for it. You know? Like, no one was really clamoring for it. Like, the thing is, there are loads of examples of people who convert their armies and kitbash their armies in ways that are not canon, but fit with their own headcanon. So, you know, there are people that have made like entire Space Marine chapters. I remember one guy who made an entire Space Marine army, and one hand they had the weapons, and in the other hand they had body pillows, like anime body pillows, and it was a huge amount of effort for what was a frankly insane army concept. Okay, but like but that wasn't canon. He didn't need GW to go and make him the body pillow chapter. He just did it. And before all of this conversation around female Space Marines and female Custodes existed, there were people that kitbashed those armies. Because the problem Games Workshop has been doing, it's one of the things I said at the end of last year, they've been answering all the mysteries, they've been answering all the questions. The whole point of 40k is that things were left very, very open-ended so that you could self-insert. And you didn't need the company to insert for you. You could self-insert. So I have no doubt in my mind, before there was ever any conversation about it, that someone out there made a female Custodes army or made a female Space Marine army, right? They made that and they came with all the headcanon for it. Maybe, you know, maybe they had the furry Marines, you know, whatever. That's fine. That's fine. So the reason why I find the entire conversation pointless is because it didn't really require Games Workshop to wade into it. Like, it was I don't really get why they waded in. And so all it's really done, I find it unnecessary. I find it all it's done is create friction. All it has done is create drama. All it has done is take the conversation away from the game and the universe and everything. And all it's really done is invited lots of people in who want to use 40k now as a battleground. And you guys know that I am really, like, I don't like politics in general. And I know the old saying, you might not take an interest in politics, but politics takes an interest in you, right? I know, right? I'm fully aware of it, but still, right? We all have our likes and we have our dislikes. And some people fucking love politics and I fucking hate it. And I quite liked that, you know, if there wasn't a lot of, whilst there was satire, there wasn't a lot of IRL stuff going on in 40k. And I feel like what's really done more than anything else to push me away from Games Workshop, to push me away from Warhammer 40k, to push me into the arms of Warhammer Old World, to push me into the arms of Bolt Action and into the arms of Conflict 47 and many other games is very simply the fact that in those places, these fucking tiresome conversations aren't going on. It's not that I'm, it's that simple. Because if I come into Warhammer 40k, there's one form of real life conversation to I'm trying to be fairly apolitical about it, but there's one form or another of this fucking bullshit being talked about. And I respect that other people care about it. This is one thing I always like to try and make clear. I am not telling you not to care about it. And I'm also not telling you can't have the conversations. Okay, of course not. Who am I to tell you? What I'm saying is, I don't like it, and it drives me away. And I'm someone that has played this game since I was 5 years old. I'm someone who has literally, for my entire sentient life, when I gained consciousness, I have played 40k. The earliest memories some of the earliest memories I have are of playing 40k. So imagine someone like, and I've been through many edition changes. I've been through many lore changes, and I've been through many retcons. I've seen Black Templars go from loving Psychers to hating Psychers to loving Psychers and all this kind of stuff, right? And in all of that time, none of these changes ever put me off 40k. And this change of female Custodes wouldn't have necessarily put me off Warhammer 40k. Because, if they'd done it right. If they'd done it right. But the way that they've done it has changed the tone of 40k. It's changed the tone of it. It's changed the tone. It's changed the conversations that happen around it. You can't go into a comment section without someone mentioning it on one side or the other. You can't, it's fucking infecting all of tabletop wargaming. I can't make a Bolt Action video without someone leaving a silly comment on one side or the other. Frankly, it's both sides, not just one. It's very easy for people to be like, "Oh, well, it's all the blue-haired Twitter people," and all, it's a thing that often gets used, right? Honestly, you get people on both sides. You can't leave a comment. I don't. It's annoying. It's very, very, very annoying. Okay. If I wanted to talk about politics and real life stuff, that would be my hobby. Because for a lot of people, it is. And hobby sounds like I'm dumbing it down, but it's the thing you do whilst you're not working. Right? Or it's the thing you do for work. If it was my passion, those would be the things I'd want to talk about. But it's not my passion. There's a reason I'm not a political channel. There's a reason I don't work in politics. The reason I don't have a real job. There's the reason I do this. Right? And frankly, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. And I think until the female Custodes things happened, very few of these conversations were happening mainstream. There was always people that talked about it, but you could avoid. If you wanted to engage with it, you could. And if you didn't want to engage with it, you didn't have to. And now, you can't avoid it. Whether you're a content creator or a content consumer, you can't avoid it. And so, my take on the whole thing is that I am neither pro the concept of female Custodes or not. I am just really fucking tired of all of the conversations that it has created. And it is making me on a very, very fundamental level, struggle to enjoy this game because I don't want to talk about it. Warhammer should be an escape from the bullshit. Exactly, Keeper of Imperial Salt. Is that it? That's it. So, on the one hand, you can see I still don't really I don't give a fuck about female Custodes, the concept. I give a fuck about what it has done to the vibe of Warhammer 40k. There you go. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And I know that there'll be people on both sides who are unhappy with me and this take. But I hope that you can see I have tried to treat both sides of this conversation with respect. Whilst I am not in either camp, I'm in a third camp, I have come down off the fence. And so I hope you guys can see that I've taken the time to try and understand both sides and explain where I sit in it. I'm sure for some people, it won't be enough. And I'm sure for some people, it will be, if you're not with us, you're against us on both sides of the aisle. But I feel there's a lot of that at the moment. You're either with us or you're against us. And you know what? I want this channel to be a place for what I believe is the vast majority of people who don't want to be with one side or the other, and they don't want to feel like they're being forced to pick a fucking side. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Let's take a few super chats, which I'm sure will be about this topic, and let's see what chat is saying, and then we'll move on to the topic. All right. So I'm going to do the super chats first. Any super chats which are not related to topic, I'll circle back round to. Okay. Punch Bowl 7069. Thank you for the super chat. By next year, Karl will create Fem Marines. Games Workshop did sort of draw a line on the sand on that, so I'm not sure if they will. I think it is getting slightly to the point where it sounds kind of crazy. If you'd asked me a few years ago, would I quit 40k over like Fem Marines, right? The answer probably would have been yes, purely because of the classic wargamer mentality. I don't like change. Again, remember the O'Neill quote. It's not about women. I just don't like change, right? Now, I will be 100% honest. To my detriment, I don't know if I'm just so jaded or if I'm just so tired of the conversations. I think it would elicit a big sigh, but I'm already not buying any 40k. I've already accepted that Games Workshop isn't the same company from in the past. I don't want to support them. So what more can I really do? I'm already not financially supporting them. So there you are. And I accept, look, if I don't financially support them, I don't get a vote basically. Until suddenly I do. That's the thing. You don't, when you vote with your wallet, you basically stop having a vote until enough people vote with the wallet, and then suddenly you do a vote and your vote counts the most. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like Fem Marines, I just be like, of course. And that would be, and then we'd have a similar conversation to what we've had now and what we had 2 years ago. Yeah. Like I think I'm jaded. Is it apathy? Is that the word? It's probably apathy. Yeah. Criticize me for all you want, but I didn't make me jaded. I didn't make me apathetic. You know, don't hate me, you know. But Mountain, thank you for the super chat. But could daughters armed with Zukov automats take down a female Custodes? I mean, I think so. I actually think you could translate the rules directly in, because they become pen +3, which would be like +3 to wound. But there's no, but then they would get their armor saves. So you'd hit them on 2s, wound them on 2s, but then they get a full armor save. But I think you could do it. Yeah. Scroobius, thank you for the super chat. Do you think Games Workshop finding profit in new mediums means they are now willing to make more radical decisions the Longbeards dislike? I think this is a really, really good point. Give me a second. For me, and I said this in my video, why is everyone quitting 40k? Quitting. They weren't really quitting, they were taking a break. But there's all these videos content creators doing. Interestingly, that comment section, 95% of the people that commented on the video didn't watch it. I can tell. Because 95%, because half of the people that were leaving comments against, so they're like half comments for the video, half comments against, right, roughly speaking. The people that were being very anti the video clearly hadn't watched it at all, because they were saying like, oh, if you want to quit, fuck off then, all this kind of stuff. And they weren't, and they kept talking about it as if quit. When actually what I was saying is people aren't quit, they're just burned out, and it's probably them needing a break, and it's probably, and I also had this whole thing about like, and then there was 50% people that were saying I've quit 40k, but without realizing that again, that wasn't really the topic. It was, if you watch the video, it was more nuanced than that. The big thing I said at the end of that video is we are coming to the passing of the torch, I believe. We are coming to the passing of the torch of one generation of wargamers to another generation of wargamers. There are a huge amount of people who are quitting 40k, and I think the first step to quitting 40k is to start looking at other games. Here, this is the thing, right? The moment that you buy into one game outside of 40k, you've kind of already, you're not 100% quit the game, but you've kind of already taken steps on the road to quitting. Now, you don't necessarily get to the end of the road, but you're sort of, your conscious mind hasn't caught up with your subconscious mind yet, essentially. Now, I think if you look at the people that are saying that they're leaving 40k, if you look at the people that are saying they're trying new games out, they are, I would say, people who are of my generation, and that, or people who have at least played, who are maybe, they could be younger, but who have played across multiple editions and maybe even know a little bit about Oldhammer, right? They've got the knowledge to see what's changed. And if you look at the people that have already quit 40k, they're older. So what I think is basically happening right now is a changing of the guard. I think it's the passing of the torch. I think that there is but in the past, when this changing of the guard happened, when this passing of the torch happened, there wasn't as much YouTube and as much social media. So it just happened quietly in the background, from one generation to the next, the next. And so, but we live in the digital age now. We live in the nano age, probably. So, you know, to quote the old Empire Earth 1 epochs, what a reference. Shout out if you played Empire Earth. We've just gone from the digital age epoch, I think, to the nano age epoch, right? And I think that now that it's much more televised. So I think there's a reason why so many people who do content creation, who have done Warhammer content creation for a long time, which are of my age, are now looking at other games. Because what happened, you know, there were people before us that said, oh, I don't really do 40. I do a bit of 40K, but I don't do it as much as I used to. And we used to think, those people are crazy. Why wouldn't you do 40K? 40K is amazing. You know, people, when I talk about Midhammer now, it's the same way that people used to talk about first and second edition to me, and I didn't really get it. I was like, ha, old man. Now I get it. We're the old men now, Ace. Yeah, exactly. GW has been dying and people quitting. It's dead since third edition. Exactly. Which is why you'll notice that I have said for a while, I've said recently I've changed because I thought 40K was dying and I realized it wasn't. 40K isn't dying, but the changing of the guard is happening. A whole generation of wargamers can quit 40K and the game will go on to greater and greater success. As crazy as that sounds. Do I think it's too big to fail? No. No company is too big to fail. But I don't think Games Workshop is trying to make the Longbeards quit. I think it's a passing of the guard, but the Longbeards don't want to go quietly. Yeah, they don't want to accept my time has come. I must go now. Wait, what? That's what it is. That's what I think it is. Yeah. Changing of the Aspiratar. Love it, Squid Fist. Yeah. And I want to make something clear. You can still play 40K even after you have quit, which is why I'm doing this. Air quotes. Because when I say you're quitting 40K, I think it just stops becoming the only game you play. Right? That's that. And not everyone. It's not like everyone. It's not like bloody Logan's Run and everyone's palm gem goes off and they have to go off and die. Like, no. But I think there will be people that people that will be 60 and have only ever played 40K. It's the only game they interest them. Fine. Right? People in chat will be like, you're saying 60 like it's old. It's not. It's just older than what I am. Yeah, exactly. One day we'll play our last game of 40K and we won't know it'll be the last day we play 40K. Exactly. Yeah. So, and this is something that I think it happens to a lot of people subconsciously, and it's why I was really grateful for the time off I had over Christmas, because it gave me 2 weeks to literally just sit in my dojo, my Mojo dojo, and just think and reflect without having to worry about the breakneck pace of making a video every day and streaming every day. Yeah. So I don't think that they're making radical decisions that the Longbeards dislike. Okay, I do think they're doing that, but I think that I don't think they're doing it to purposely piss off the Longbeards. I just think, if I could sum the entire thing up, you know that scene in Parks and Rec when Ron goes into the Home Depot and the young guy comes up to him and says, hey, what you working on? How can I help you today? And he goes, stop. I know more than you. I think the people, that's what's happening here. The people at Games Workshop, many of them will have been doing it a lot less time than the community itself. And so they're doing things differently. And that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons they do. That's one of the reasons they're doing things differently. Yeah. Big North, thank you for the super chat, man. I play Custodes and have a friend who thinks I'm anti-female Custodes because I don't like how GW handled it. I really don't care about it, and I do get annoyed when people compare this to the Necron change. Yes. The thing is with the Necron change is that the people that didn't like it, I completely understand your position. So I am a reformed Necron lore hater. I'm a reformed Necron lore hater. I used to say, oh, I don't like the change to the Necron lore. It's big bag of shit, blah, 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 blah. They should be soulless killing machines, blah, 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 blah. I said that in great confidence and great arrogance, having not read the new Necron lore. And then I read the new Necron lore. I actually, the book that really converted to me was Twice Dead King. The first one. I haven't read the second one yet. I've got it, I haven't read it.
You dogs to victory!
And that completely changed my mind. Overnight. In one chapter, frankly. In one chapter, it changed my mind. And I got it. And I realized that the new Necron lore was good and was better. So I agree. I don't think it... I do not believe that the Custodes change is equal to the Necron change. Because the Necron change, they took the time to essentially, like, flesh... The Necron lore change was an expansion of lore. It was an expansion. And one of the things that I like about the Necron lore change is you can really understand it because it's basically, in many ways, from the perspective, the change is from the perspective of the Imperium. And maybe this is just cope, but I always thought that when the Necrons first arrived on the scene, their codexes were very much written from the Imperium's perspective, which is why there was so little understood about them and why they seemed so dark and mysterious and just sort of soulless killing machines and all this kind of stuff. And then what I saw when the new lore came along, I actually saw it. It was a huge expansion. It made the Necrons more interesting. It was a huge expansion. And they went from like this to like this. And suddenly there was all this understanding of, you know, why the Necrons can't just take over the entire galaxy, because half of the shit won't wake up even if they try their very best. And the other half that does wake up, 90% of that's rusty and fucking not working properly, and half the guys losing their mind. So yeah, in theory, if every Necron woke up, they would harvest everybody. But the reality is that maybe 10% of them will wake up. At best, probably 5, probably 1. Right? So I like the new Necron lore because it was done with respect. And the time was taken, and you could understand that maybe this was essentially a perspective change. It went from being the Imperium's understanding of the Necrons is they're soulless killing machines, we've no fucking clue what's going on, to, oh, now the next, this is now coming from the Necrons' perspective, and when you see things from their perspective, actually, that's where the knowledge is coming from. Yeah. So I think pariahs should come back. There's always elements. Nothing's perfect. But on the whole, I prefer the Necron lore change. The difference with the female Custodes is it wasn't an expansion of the lore. This is what I was saying. If they'd gone through the scenario that I'd mentioned earlier, and they took the time and said there's casualties, and they knew this was going to be they're burning the resources now, and they're going to have to pay the price later and all that kind of stuff. If they had done that, it was fine. But because that is an expansion of the lore. It's great because everyone could make video. All the lore tubers could get into like, oh my God, like how this is going to be fucked for the Imperium in the future. And also it allows GW to set up new plot threads. Right? It's good for everyone. It's good for us because we accept it's pandering bullshit, but the Pandaverse, right? But and I'm being a bit facetious with that. Don't get into it too much. But we accept that there's probably some marketing bullshit going on here. But they've taken the time to explain it. So we can sort of square it away with ourselves. The lore tubers can really feast on it. And Games Workshop sets up a fucking money printing line, because suddenly they can start exploring all these future plot threads. But they didn't do that. So the reason it's not the same as the Necron lore change is the Necron lore change was let us expand massively and bring so much more into this faction. The Custodes lore change was just It's here. That's it. But you shouldn't be surprised because the Rogel Dawn, I know it sounds silly, but the Rogel Dawn tank has been out 3 years and they've still not written any lore for it. When the Land Raider Crusader was first revealed, Games Workshop went to great pains, not great pains, went to middling pains, but acceptable pains, to explain why the Black Templars had it and no one else did. And then they went to further pains to explain why then other Space Marine chapters later got access to it. Both cases, it was a paragraph. All it took was one paragraph. But it was a paragraph that made sense in the universe. The Black Templars discovered it. It was their tech marines that were basically in charge of the designs, and they wanted to keep it for themselves. But the Mechanicus basically said, hey, if you share this design with the wider Imperium, then we'll give you some cool, like, Mechanicus privileges, which will benefit your chapter as a whole. And they went, sweet, we still get the Crusader, and now we get more. And that's why everyone gets the Land Raider Crusader, but people don't get all the Blood Angels vehicles like the Bile Predator because they refuse to share it. Cool, right? It's not about the lore. It's about it's about the effort. Yeah. Mr. Lackey, so fence sitting Tim, how are British of you? A joke, big respect for giving your opinion, brother. Let's just keep enjoying the hobby. Dude, that's it, man. Guys, I just want to enjoy the hobby. I want to enjoy the hobby, and I preferred it when I never minded these conversations taking place. I minded when I started to mind, and it started to frustrate me when I felt like against my will, I was kind of getting sucked into it. Yeah. So newbie, thank you for the super chat, man. 93% of your mindset, but I feel the female Custodes are utterly forced. If they made effort behind a story, fine, wouldn't mind it, but they've always been here. Nope. Tired of the corpo heavy hands lately. Yeah. I mean, I get that. I think I'm the same. I am tired of Corpo GW, but that's it. That's the new company. Previously, Games Workshop. I mean, the people that invented Warhammer 40k do not work at Games Workshop. Not one of them. Not a single one of them that are responsible for the titanic foundations which have been laid down, which are hugely responsible for much of its success to this day. None of them work there. It's not the same company. It used to be a small company run by hobbyists first and business people second. And now it is a large company run by business people first and hobbyists second. It's that simple. Yeah. I will say this, though. I will say this. And keeping the pure salt, I'm going to push back on you slightly. I was there with old GW, and I don't think you can attribute all of Games Workshop's success. You see, I'm very fair-minded with this. I'm very, very fair-minded. Unfortunately for the internet, I'm actually a bit nuanced on this kind of stuff. I don't think it is fair to say Games Workshop and Warhammer is as big as it is now because of what came before. I think it took what came before and I don't know what you want to call it, but the effort that they've put into getting it out there has been incredible. They don't always get it right, but Games Workshop has really, Warhammer is mainstream, guys. Things that I dreamt of as a kid exist. I dreamt of a game where I could play as an Imperial Guardsman first person. I used to play Half-Life opposing force and roleplay as a guardsman. Now, if I wanted to roleplay as a guardsman, I'd just go and play Darktide. Or Rogue Trader. It's mental. But, yeah. I mean, as far as world building, I don't know. I can't comment, man. And that's not a cop-out. I just don't read Warhammer books anymore. I just don't read Warhammer books anymore. If I ever read a Warhammer book, it's the same. It's the Gaunt's Ghost series and it's the Eyes and Horn series and these. Yeah. But the thing is, I've people think that Warhammer books are really bad now, and I don't know if that's true. Maybe it is, because I haven't read them. But I'll tell you this: there were some really, 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 really phenomenally, unbelievably shit ones in the past. I don't want to say his name in case I summon him, but if anyone read any books by C.S. Goto, you probably wouldn't complain about the books that were out today. That's how bad his were. Just fucking... I read like 2 or 3 of them and was like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. Yeah. We don't speak his name, yeah. You've got to be careful not to put 40k on a pedestal, guys. Flying Land Raiders. Yeah, basically, what I've learned is there's the first 4 Caiaphas Cain books. There's Twice Dead King. Anything that Peter Feverari writes is going to be amazing, but a bit trippy. And then there's Dan Abnett. Outside of that, nah. William King, I bet he doesn't do 40k. Well, I don't know if he wrote any 40k. He wrote Gothic and Felix, yeah. There are, for every good 40k book that's out there, I would say there are 10 bad ones. There you are. Keep the Imperial Salt. Thank you for the super chat. Good writing keeps you engaged. It sure does. See, I said this earlier. I'm not a lore guy. But I used to be. I used to be. And for me, it comes back to what I said earlier. I haven't changed. I know what kind of lore I like to read. It was only recently that I got into Gothic and Felix. Since doing this, I would say recently, I said 2 or 3 years, right? It's not because I've been playing for such a long time. And I love it. I never would have thought to have picked up an old Warhammer fantasy book, and now I'm trying to find as many as I can. There's apparently some really good old Warhammer ones, like Warhammer Empire. There's apparently some really good old Empire ones that I want to check out. But yeah, like there's a. I think I very much could be a lore guy again. I used to read so many Warhammer books. It's all I would read. You told me you hate lore. No, I don't. I sort of forgot that I liked it. Does that make sense? Like you sort of, without realizing it, kind of drift away, and then you read something again that reminds you and you go, fucking hell. Actually, I do like lore. So, to give you the example that made me realize I do like lore. Roll your eyes, boys, but Conflict 47. I read those first lore articles from Warlord Games, and I was instantly hooked. And the thing that I am looking forward to more than anything right now, hobby-wise, more than new models, more than new rules, probably even more than 11th edition, I really want to see the lore for the new Conflict 47 book. Like, the moment that I can read it, I'm going to sit up all night and read it. I might miss a stream to do it. The moment Warlord gives me a copy. I mean, I might, this weekend, I might say, hey, do you have a digital advanced copy? I really want to read it. Just the lore. You don't do many rules, just the lore. Yeah. Forget missing a stream, we should read it together. Cosmic, you can sit on my knee and I'll read it to you. But yeah, like, so I am a lore guy. I've just think I forgot I was a lore guy. But when I read good lore, it's like something, it's like an insatiable hunger. It's like, I mean, it's one of the things that's been killing me recently for Conflict is I really want some lore and I can't get any more right now. Yeah. Yeah. Gandalf Smoke, brother, it's time you take the next step. Get married and have a kid. Your warriors of Warhammer 40k cheese lord, metal way, I promise. Well, I mean, mate, I think, honestly, I think that's what's happened. I think you're absolutely right. I'm just older now. 32. I'll be 33 soon. And I think I've just grown up a bit. And that's it, yeah. I think that's it. I've just grown up a little bit. And the more you grow up, your tastes change over time. And this is what I was saying about it's the passing of the torch. It's a passing of the torch. It's the one generation of wargamers are willingly or otherwise making way for a new generation of wargamers. And the people that said third edition was, the people that said second edition was the death of 40k. The people that played Rogue Trader made way for second edition players. People that played second edition made way for the Midhammer players from third through to seventh. And the people that came along with eighth pushed out the people that played Midhammer. Became the majority. And this is I think that's what's happening with 10th. And that's what's happening with 10th, yeah. It is the next generation coming in. And you might have played 40k for 30 years, but the people at GW haven't, and so they're different. They're different people, different community. And so they're going to do different things that will put you off, but, and some of those things will be bad. Like I said, I think the way they've done female Custodes is bad. I don't think the concept itself is bad. I think the Custody, the way they did it, is bad. Because I will say one thing, and again, I might upset some people here, but some people treat the lore of 40k as utterly, utterly sacred. Like it is this irrefutable, immutable fact. Now, and I don't agree with that. But I also do not agree with the people that say nothing is canon. Because both positions are too absolute. I think that 40k lore has changed and evolved over time, but it's sacred. The Holy Scroll shall not be infringed. No, it's just not true. The Holy Scrolls have been infringed many times. But the point is that if you're going to make a change, the change should be done carefully and with respect, and should make sense within the rules of the universe. You can update anything, just do it right, do it properly. It's not that nothing is canon. It's that there is canon. We're not afraid to change it, but we're going to do it the right way. Yeah. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well.
For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day.
And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.